They call it weird. The way you pause before answering. The way your eyes wander somewhere else mid-conversation, like you're mentally walking down a hallway nobody else can see. The way you don't rush to fill the silence. People notice that. They pretend they don't, but they do. And for some strange reason, they can't stop thinking about you afterward. It's funny, isn't it? We live in a world obsessed with loudness. Everyone's trying to be noticed, posting, shouting, performing, proving. But somehow, the ones who don't even try, the ones who seem almost detached, they linger. Not in your feed, in your mind. You might think your weird little habits make you hard to understand. But to the human brain, that's exactly what makes you magnetic. See, our minds crave patterns, but they also crave exceptions. And when someone doesn't fit neatly into a pattern, the brain gets confused. And confusion is powerful. It makes people focus. You become a puzzle they can't solve, but desperately want. That pause before you answer, it tells them you're not desperate for approval. That half smile that doesn't fully reach your eyes, it makes them wonder what you're hiding. That quiet detachment they call cold, it's read as confidence. And that strange calmness while others scramble for attention, it feels unsettlingly attractive. You're not the person who floods the room with words. You're the one who controls it with silence. And silence is rare currency in a world addicted to noise. The truth is, people aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to contrast. Something that doesn't quite make sense. Someone who doesn't behave the way they expect. And that's you, strangely, unintentionally, hypnotically unpredictable. They call it weird when you don't rush to respond to messages. But deep down, they check twice to see if you've replied. They call it weird that you stare off into space, but they also wonder what secret world you live in. They say it's weird that you'd rather observe than talk. But the moment you do talk, everyone listens. Here's the uncomfortable truth. What they call weird is just authenticity stripped of performance. And authenticity terrifies people because it reminds them of what they've lost. Genuine presence. Most people wear personalities like costumes, carefully curated to be liked. But when someone walks in with no costume, no filter, no act, it feels almost supernatural. You become a mirror, reflecting their own falseness back at them. No wonder they can't look away. They'll call you mysterious. They'll say you have main character energy. But what they're really feeling is a loss of control. Because when you're unpredictable, you take away their sense of knowing. And that's what attraction really is. Not beauty, not charm, not style. It's tension. That slight psychological discomfort that keeps people curious. And curiosity is the most addictive drug the mind knows. But let's be honest. It's not all romantic. People are drawn to mystery, but they also fear it. They'll try to decode you, dissect you, define you. And when they fail, they'll label you instead. Weird, distant, aloof. Because the human brain hates open loops. And you're an open loop that never closes. You're the question mark at the end of a sentence they can't finish. What they don't realize is that your so-called weirdness is just emotional discipline. You've learned that not everything needs a reaction. That silence can say more than words. That presence doesn't need performance. You've built boundaries, and that's rare, because most people mistake overexposure for connection. They spill everything, hoping someone will care. You, on the other hand, keep your world small, private, sacred. And that restraint? It radiates power. There's a reason mysterious people seem magnetic. It's not about manipulation, it's about energy. When you stop chasing validation, your attention becomes valuable. And when your attention is valuable, people crave it. It's human psychology 101. Scarcity creates desire. When everyone is available, the unavailable becomes irresistible. Of course, it's easier to call you strange than to admit they're intrigued. It's easier to joke about your weird habits than to admit they wish they had your tight control. They'll laugh at how calm you are, but secretly they'll wish they had your peace. They'll say you're hard to read, but that's exactly what keeps them reading. You don't play by social scripts. You don't clap when you're told to. You don't bend your voice to match the crowd's rhythm. And every time someone tries to figure you out, they end up learning more about themselves instead. That's your secret influence. Not charm, not seduction. Just quiet self-possession, the rarest form of power. You see, being weird is only weird until people realize it's a form of freedom. The freedom to not perform. The freedom to not explain. The freedom to be uninterested in being liked. And that, ironically, makes people like you even more. Because confidence isn't loud, it's silent certainty. And mystery isn't created, it's preserved. Maybe you've noticed it before. How people who mock your quirks eventually imitate them. How the same ones who call you different start adjusting themselves around you. They don't even realize they're doing it. Because attraction isn't always conscious. Sometimes it's psychological submission. Their brain quietly admits, this person doesn't need me, and that makes me want them more. The truth is, weirdness isn't a flaw. It's an absence of fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. And when someone truly stops fearing that, they become magnetic. Because nothing pulls people in like calm indifference. It's unsettling. It's rare. It's human nature at its most primitive, chasing what it can't predict. So let them call you weird. Let them whisper, analyze, misunderstand. Every time they do, they feed the very thing they're drawn to, your enigma. You're not supposed to make sense to everyone. You're supposed to make an impression that lingers. You're supposed to make people think long after the conversation ends. And you do. They call it weird. But that's just what people say when they can't name the feeling. The quiet pull. The magnetic unease. The curiosity they can't shake. You? You're not weird. You're unforgettable.